The passenger who knew too much. I've been doing late-night rideshare driving for years, mostly with Uber, and if you've ever worked those hours, you know the deal. Quiet streets, better tips, and the occasional passenger that makes your skin crawl. This happened about 4 months ago, and I still think about it every time I check my rearview mirror. That night started normal. Cold air, empty roads, radio humming low. Around 2:30 a.m., I got a pickup request from a gas station on the edge of town. Nothing unusual, until I pulled in. The place was completely shut down. Lights off. Doors locked. No cars. Except one man standing under the flickering sign. I slowed the car, already feeling something off. He wasn't just standing there. He was watching me. Not waving. Not checking his phone. Just staring straight at my car like he knew I was coming before I even arrived. I almost cancelled. I should have cancelled. But instead, I unlocked the doors. He got in without a word. The second the door shut, the air inside my car felt heavier, like the temperature dropped 10 degrees. I glanced in the mirror. He was already staring at me, not blinking. Most passengers either talk or stay quiet. This guy did neither. He just stared. I tried to ignore it, turned on the radio, some random late-night station, but the moment the music started, turn it off. His voice was low, flat, no emotion. I didn't argue, just shut it off. Silence filled the car again, thick, suffocating. A minute passed. Then he spoke again. Do you ever feel like you've picked up someone you weren't supposed to? My hands tightened on the wheel. I forced a small laugh. Not really. He didn't laugh back. Instead, he leaned forward slightly, close enough that I could see his face clearer in the mirror. Dark circles, cracked lips, and a smile. Not a normal smile. The kind that doesn't reach the eyes. I used to drive too, he said softly. Until one night, I picked someone up. He paused. My heart started pounding. What happened? I asked, even though I didn't want the answer. Another pause. Then he whispered. He wasn't alive. I felt a chill run down my spine. I told myself he was messing with me. Drunk. High. Something. But then he leaned even closer. You ever check your backseat before you start driving? I froze. Because I hadn't. Not that night. Not before he got in. I glanced at the mirror again. And for a split second, I thought I saw something behind him. A shape. Sitting in the far corner of the backseat. I blinked. It was gone. My breathing got heavier. Almost there, I muttered, staring at the GPS like it would save me. But then he said something that made my blood run cold. You missed the turn. I looked down. I hadn't. The route was still straight. I think I'll just follow. I said you missed it. His voice snapped, louder this time. I panicked and slammed the brakes. The car skidded slightly before stopping on the empty road. Pull over, he said. My hands were shaking as I shifted into park. That's when headlights appeared behind us. A police car. Relief hit me instantly. But in the mirror, the man dropped flat into the seat. Like he was hiding. Not crouching. Completely flat. Like a body. The police car slowed, spotlight sweeping over us, then kept driving. Didn't stop. Didn't notice. Nothing. After a few seconds, the man slowly sat back up. Then he laughed. Quiet. Dry. You're lucky, he said. Before I could react, he opened the door and stepped out. And just like that, he was gone. I ended my shift immediately. Didn't even check the app. Just drove home. Locked every door. Didn't sleep. But here's where it gets worse. 2 days later, I saw a news report. A gas station robbery. Same location. Same time I picked him up. The clerk was found dead in the storage room. And the suspect? Still missing. I reported the ride. Deleted the app for a week. Installed a dashcam the next day. But sometimes, late at night, when I check my rearview mirror, I still feel like someone is sitting in the backseat. Even when the app says, I'm alone. If this story gave you chills, hit like and subscribe now. Because story 2 gets even darker, and trust me, you won't see the ending coming. The cabin that wasn't empty. 3 years ago, I moved out to the woods to escape everything. Noise, people, the constant pressure of city life. I found a small cabin deep in the forests of Oregon, miles away from anything resembling civilization. No traffic, no neighbors. Or at least, that's what I thought. The silence out there was different. Not peaceful, heavy, like the forest was listening. Still, I convinced myself it was perfect. Until the day someone knocked on my door. It had been about a week since I moved in. I hadn't seen a single person. So when I heard 3 slow knocks on the door, I froze. There was no doorbell. No footsteps leading up. Just knocking. I opened it. An old woman stood there. Long gray hair, soaked boots, and eyes that didn't blink enough. She smiled, but it felt forced. "I live nearby," she said, holding out a basket. "Thought you might need this." I hesitated, then took it. Big mistake. She didn't leave right away. Just stood there, staring, like she was waiting for something. Finally, she spoke again. "Keep your windows shut at night," she said. "And don't answer if you hear knocking after midnight." A chill ran through me. I forced a laugh. "Why?" She didn't smile this time. "Because it won't be me." Then she turned and walked into the trees. No goodbye. No sound. Just gone. I told myself she was just weird. That's it. Nothing more. But that night proved me wrong. Around 1:30 a.m., I woke up to a sound. Knocking. Soft at first. Then louder. Then desperate. My heart started racing. I checked the clock. 1:32 a.m. I remembered what she said. Don't answer after midnight. So I stayed in bed. Didn't move. Didn't breathe. The knocking continued for almost a full minute. Then stopped. Silence. Complete silence. I thought it was over. Until I heard something worse. A voice. Right outside my window. "Please," it whispered. Soft. Weak. "I know you're in there." My stomach dropped. It sounded like the woman. Same voice. Same tone. But something was off. Like it was trying too hard to sound human. I slowly turned my head toward the window. And that's when I saw it. A shape. Standing too close to the glass. Head tilted at an unnatural angle. Not moving. Not blinking. I shut my eyes immediately. Every instinct screamed at me not to look again. The voice came back. Louder this time. "Why won't you let me in?" Then, bang. Something slammed against the window. I nearly screamed. But I stayed silent. Frozen. Terrified. After a few seconds. Nothing. No voice. No movement. Just silence again. I didn't sleep that night. Didn't move until sunrise. The moment the sun came up, I grabbed a flashlight and stepped outside. The ground was muddy from the night before. Perfect for footprints. But there weren't any. Not near the window. Not near the door. Nothing. Like no one had been there at all. Shaken, I decided to find the woman. She said she lived nearby. I followed a narrow trail through the trees for about 10 minutes. Until I found it. Another cabin. Old. Rotting. Abandoned. The door hung open. Inside. Dust. Cobwebs. And furniture covered in decay. No signs of anyone living there. At all. But then I saw something that made my blood run cold. On a small table near the entrance was a basket. Identical to the one she gave me. I slowly backed away. Heart pounding. Because I realized something I hadn't before. If no one lived there, then who knocked on my door? And more importantly, what was standing outside my window last night, pretending to be her? I moved out that same day. Didn't pack everything. Didn't care. I just left. But sometimes, late at night, I still hear knocking. Soft. Slow. Patient. Waiting for me to open the door. If you think you would have opened that door, you wouldn't survive story 3. Like this video and subscribe now, because the last story is the most disturbing one yet. The call that knew everything. My name's Daniel, and this happened last winter, on a long, empty drive through rural Ohio. It was Christmas Eve. My girlfriend, Mia, and I had just left my parents' house around midnight. Snow was falling lightly, the roads were empty, and everything felt perfect. We had music playing, old tracks from Juice WRLD, and for a while, It felt like one of those moments you wish could last forever. Until my phone rang. Unknown number. I ignored it. Then it rang again. And again. By the third call, I was annoyed. I picked up. Hello. Silence. Just faint static. I was about to hang up when a voice came through. Low. Calm. Daniel. My grip tightened on the wheel. How do you know my name? I asked. No answer. Just breathing. Then. I know where you're going. A cold wave ran through my chest. I glanced at Mia. She was staring at me, confused. I put the call on speaker. Who is this? I demanded. The voice ignored me. Instead, it started listing things. My full name. My address. My college. Details no stranger should know. My heart started pounding. Mia whispered, hang up. But I didn't. I couldn't. Something told me I needed to hear this. That's when the voice said something that changed everything. I'm not calling about you. My stomach dropped. Then who? I asked. A pause. Long enough to make my skin crawl. Then, Mia. I looked at her instantly. Her face went pale. How do you know her? I snapped. The voice chuckled softly. She's right next to you. I slammed the brakes. The car skidded slightly on the icy road before stopping. What do you want? I shouted. But before the voice could answer, Mia grabbed my phone and hung up. Just like that. I stared at her. What the hell are you doing? She didn't answer. Just shook her head. Drive, she whispered. Just drive. Something felt wrong. Not just the call. Her reaction. I tried calling the number back. Once. Twice. 3 times. Nothing. Didn't connect. It was like the number didn't exist. We drove in silence for the next 10 minutes. No music. No talking. Just the sound of tires crunching snow. Then, my phone rang again. Different number. Unknown. I hesitated. Mia whispered, don't answer. But I did. Slowly. Carefully. Hello. This time, there was no static. Just the same voice. Clearer. Closer. You shouldn't have let her hang up. My blood ran cold. What do you want? I said again, trying to stay calm. The voice didn't respond immediately. Then it said something that made my hands start shaking. She didn't tell you, did she? I looked at Mia. She was staring straight ahead. Not moving. Not blinking. Tell me what? I asked. The voice whispered, check the trunk. I felt my heart drop into my stomach. That's not funny, I said. But the voice continued. You picked her up tonight, right? I froze. Because I hadn't. Mia was already at my house when I got home. She hadn't come with me. She hadn't left with me. She was just there, waiting. Slowly, I turned my head toward her. Mia, I said quietly. She didn't look at me. Where did you come from tonight? No answer. Just silence. Then, she smiled. Not the way she usually does. This was different. Wider. Empty. The voice came back one last time. Soft. Almost amused. You really should check the trunk. The call ended. I didn't move. Didn't breathe. The car sat there, engine running, snow falling around us. Mia was still smiling. Still staring forward. Then she spoke. For the first time since the call. You should keep driving. I don't remember making the decision. But I opened the door. Stepped out into the cold. Walked to the back of the car. Every step felt heavier than the last. My hands were shaking as I reached for the trunk. And when I opened it, I realized something horrifying. It wasn't empty. I'm not going to describe what I saw. I can't. But I will say this. The person in my passenger seat wasn't Mia. And whatever called me that night knew exactly what it had put in my car. The thing that knocks. I didn't believe in missing persons cases. Not really. People leave. They run. They disappear on purpose. That's what I always told myself. Until my brother vanished. No note. No calls. No activity on his phone. Just gone. The police searched for 3 days. Then they stopped. Said the woods behind his cabin were too dense. Too dangerous. That people get lost out there all the time. But my brother didn't get lost. He knew those woods better than anyone. Which meant something else found him first. I arrived at his cabin just before sunset. Same place I'd visited a dozen times before. But it felt different now. Quieter. Heavier. Like the air itself was watching me. The front door was unlocked. Inside, everything looked normal. His boots by the door. Coffee mug on the table. Bed unmade. Like he had just stepped outside for a second. And never came back. I called his name. No answer. Just silence pressing in from every corner. Then I noticed something strange. The windows, all of them, were nailed shut. From the inside. That didn't make sense. My brother hated feeling trapped. He used to keep everything open. Said fresh air kept the place alive. So why would he seal himself in? And more importantly, what was he trying to keep out? I moved toward the back door. It was locked. But not just locked. Barricaded. Furniture pushed against it. Deep scratch marks carved into the wood. Long. Jagged. Not made by tools. I felt it then. That instinct. That quiet voice telling you something is wrong. Very wrong. But I ignored it. Because that's what people do. We convince ourselves everything has an explanation. Everything makes sense. Until it doesn't. I stepped outside. The woods stretched out behind the cabin. Dark. Dense. Unwelcoming. And right at the edge of the tree line. I saw something hanging. I walked closer. Slowly. Heart pounding. And then I saw it clearly. It was a shirt. My brother's shirt. Torn. Covered in dirt. Hanging from a branch like a warning. Or a marker. Something about it felt intentional. Like it had been placed there. Not dropped. Not lost. Displayed. And that's when I heard it. A knock. I turned instantly. The sound came from the cabin. 3 slow knocks. From inside. My chest tightened. That wasn't possible. I had just been in there. No one was inside. No one could be inside. Another knock. Same rhythm. Slow. Patient. Like it wasn't trying to get in. But trying to get my attention. I walked back. Every step heavier than the last. The forest behind me suddenly felt alive. Watching. Waiting. I reached the door. Put my hand on the handle. And froze. Because I heard something on the other side. Breathing. Slow. Wet. Too close. Like it was standing right against the door. Hello. I said. My voice barely steady. The breathing stopped. Complete silence. Then. A whisper. Soft. Familiar. Open the door. My blood ran cold. Because I recognized that voice. It was my brother. I almost did it. I almost opened the door. Every instinct in me screaming to let him out. To help him. To see him. But something felt wrong. Off. The voice was perfect. Too perfect. Like it was reading from memory. Not speaking naturally. Please, it said. And then it knocked again. 3 times. Same pattern. I stepped back. Shaking my head. No, I whispered. Silence. Then the breathing came back. Faster now. Angrier. And then. It changed. The voice. It broke. Twisted. Led into something unnatural. Open. The door. The entire cabin shook with the force of it. Something slammed against the door. Hard. Wood cracked. I stumbled back. Heart racing. And then it hit again. And again. Each impact stronger than the last. The barricade inside began to shift. Furniture scraping across the floor. Whatever was inside was trying to get out. I ran. Didn't look back. Didn't stop. Branches tore at my face as I pushed into the woods. I didn't care where I was going. Anywhere but there. Behind me. I heard it. The door breaking. Wood snapping. And then footsteps. Not one set. Multiple. They moved fast. Too fast. Circling. Closing in. And then. Knocking. Everywhere. From trees. From the ground. From right beside my head. 3 knocks. Over and over again. Different directions. Different distances. like the forest itself was copying the sound. I tripped, hit the ground hard, pain shooting through my leg. I tried to stand, but froze, because right in front of me, something stepped out from behind a tree. It looked like my brother. Same face, same clothes, same eyes, but the smile was wrong. "Why didn't you open the door?" it asked. Perfect voice, perfect tone. I shook my head, backing away, and then more stepped out. From behind trees, from the darkness. All of them. Him. Dozens. Maybe more. Each one slightly different, but all wrong. They started knocking. Not on doors. On themselves. 3 knocks against their own chests. In perfect sync. Smiling. Watching. Waiting. "Let us in," they whispered. All at once. I don't remember how I got out. I just remember waking up in a hospital. Days later, they said a search team found me miles from the cabin. Alone. Delirious. Repeating the same thing over and over. I didn't believe them at first, until the nurse asked me a question. Simple. Normal. And I answered her. But the voice that came out wasn't mine. Because now, every night, I hear it. From inside my chest. 3 slow knocks. Waiting. Patient. And sometimes, when I look in the mirror, I see him. Smiling back. If this story gave you chills, you're not ready for what comes next. Hit like and subscribe now, because the next story might follow you home.